Hi, my name's Sue and this is Sue Marie P, and today I've got a delicious, easy, gluten-free honey roll or a Swiss roll. It's like the one that you roll up. It sounds complicated, but it's easier than you think and you'll impress your friends and family. You could even make it the day before and it tastes even better the next day. And it's got a little bit of honey cream cheese filling inside. I love experimenting with different types of flours like spelt flour, buckwheat flour, and I like creating some gluten-free ideas to share recipes with you. And if you like what you see today and you want to see more of it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing if you're new here today. I hope you enjoy my video. So let's get mixing. First step, we need to pop the oven onto 160 degrees fan, which means fan forced oven, and I'll pop some other temperatures above if you don't have a fan forced oven. And you need to prep your baking tin. So it's what's called a Swiss roll. I don't have a Swiss roll tin, but I've got this baking tin with edges. And it's about a 10 inch by 15 inch, which is 25 centimeters by 39. Give or take, use what you've got to make this cake. I've greased it with oil and lined it with paper, so that's ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip 4 egg whites separately, and in this bowl I've got the 4 egg yolks. So I'm going to beat them up with sugar. So in here I've got 150 grams or 3/4 a cup of caster sugar, and it's got no butter in this recipe. So let's whip this up. So while that's whipping and doing its thing, I've made this gluten-free, so I'm making it with all corn flour, but if it's not important, just swap this out for regular flour. So in here I've got half a cup or 75 grams plus 2 tablespoons of corn flour. And I'm just adding in 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And in here I've got 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon and a teaspoon of ginger. That just gives a little bit of spice. So I'm going to whisk those up. And whisking it just helps combine everything. It's going to make this go a bit faster. Actually, it's a bit tricky in this bowl because it's really big. It's kind of too big for some cake recipes. So I need to stop it and scrape it a little bit. So let me just do that. I'm just going to do that for about 3 minutes. So my flour's all prepped. I've got some honey to drizzle in. And while that's mixing, grab your egg whites and we're going to whip them up until they're nice and stiff. So I think they're good. They're forming peaks, which is perfect. How's this going over here? Got about another minute. It's getting paler in colour and I'm trying to create a lot of air into the mixture. Okay, look at that. It's all lightened in colour and I'm going to drizzle in my honey now. It's always like just doing it from the jar, so 2 tablespoons. I was requested by one of my viewers, Kerry. Hi, Kerry. She wanted a honey cake. And even though I'm a baker, I don't really have a super sweet tooth. So I was trying to work out how I could do a honey cake that she might like. And this one reminds me of this roll that my mum used to buy when we were children from the bakery or the supermarket. It's our 3 minutes. And so I've been trying to replicate a version of it. And I think this is pretty close. Okay, we'll just whip this for 30 seconds. That was even less. I think that's fine. Now with that flour, I'm just going to do a little bit at a time because I want to make sure it's combined. We don't want to destroy the air in that, so I'm just doing this a little bit at a time. I'm going to take this off because my batter will start getting stuck. So for the last bit, before I add all the flour, I'm going to fold in the last little bit. But to help it along, what we will do, we're going to add in a little bit of the egg whites. I'm going to do half egg whites. Just fold it gently because we don't want to destroy them either. And do a little bit more flour, but not all of it. Do some more egg whites. And the last bit of flour. So I'm just going to blend the last bit of flour before I pop in the final egg whites. Last bit. Okay, we've got a gorgeous, lovely, fluffy batter. Looks like our flour's all mixed through, which I'm super happy about. Okay. Grab your prepared cake tin or baking tin. We're going to pour that in. Just as you do it, just make sure you've got no flour down the bottom. Just give it one last little mix as you're doing it. And just jiggle it around so it's in all four corners. Just tap it to get any air bubbles out. Now we're going to bake this for about 15 to 20 minutes. Keep an eye on it. We want the cake to be golden brown and still a little bit springy to touch. I can smell the cake in, I think it's ready, so I'm going to bring it out. It's been about 14 minutes. Look at that. If you touch it, it's springy, and so I think it's ready. That's better, one of my lights wasn't on. So it looks really fluffy now, but we need to let that cool for about 10 minutes and it'll go down slightly. In the meantime, let's make our cream cheese filling. Now I don't like anything too sweet, so in here I'm just adding some honey, 2 tablespoons, but before I do that I'm going to whip it up just with my handheld beaters because I want to put this bowl in the fridge while we're waiting for that. So I've had my cream cheese at room temperature, so there's 250 grams or 1 cup. So let's add the honey, and you can add more honey, you can add a little bit of icing sugar sifted in here, you can add butter, you can add a zest of lemon, vanilla, but I'm going to do just 2 ingredients, a simple way. And I'm going to start with 2 tablespoons, and I think that'll be enough for my taste. So let's whip this up. And just taste a little bit. I like that, not too sweet. So I'm going to chill this in the fridge. So this will be nice and cold when our cake's ready and cooled down. So I'll pop a timer on for my cake here, but what I'm going to do while we're waiting is I'm just going to remove the paper and make sure it's not stuck. But I think we're pretty good. And this looks fancy and it seems tricky, but once you master the rolling and the flipping, it's a pretty forgiving cake. So on standby I've got another sheet of baking paper and I've got some caster sugar. So we need to flip that over onto the baking paper. So I'm going to drizzle some caster sugar onto that. And that'll just help the cake not stick. So the next step is the tricky step. We need to get this cake out of here. So I'm going to gently lift it out of this cake tin because we don't want to crack it. And I'm going to flip it over onto my paper here. So what I might do is I'm going to sprinkle the sugar on here so then it won't stick to my paper. Pop that on there. This tray back. And flip it over like that. And then I gently peel the paper away. We don't want to destroy any of this lovely cake that we've made. So at this stage, grab a knife, and if you've got any wonky edges that you want to clean them up now. But if not, I've got a little tip. I'm just going to double check my notes. Before rolling, we need to cut 3 little cuts at the end of the cake here, about a finger width apart, and that just helps roll it up. Now we turn the paper towards us and grab the end of the paper, and then we start rolling the cake. I like doing it this way because you get more rolls and a shorter cake. And now I just rest it for about 20 minutes to encourage it to be this shape before we add our cream cheese filling. So I'm going to pop my timer on for 20 minutes. So our timer's gone off, and let's just gently unroll my cake. I'm going to spread my cream cheese over the inside of this. Now if you didn't want to do cream cheese, you could also do it with cream. But I prefer cream cheese. Just carefully lift it onto a platter. Okay, so I've popped on my platter and we really want it seam side down. Now you might notice there's a few little cracks. That's fine. What we can do is we can dust a little bit more sugar over the top. We can put icing sugar, or if you wanted, you can also increase your cream cheese and put more cream cheese over the top. Now ideally we'd like to chill this for an hour, but let me just cut into it and I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, so I really should let it set in the fridge first. It's quite soft and light, and it definitely tastes better even the next day. Yum. I need to go away and pop this in the fridge. I'll see you next time. Bye.